let's move on from the quarter panel to building the edge of the lens for the rear tail lamp. So that starts with this base surface, which is up here at the same height. So this surface and this surface were the same. So now we've just trimmed this off, right? And we need to come back in here, and based on some criteria, we need to underflush this lens, and we need to create the blackout. So our criteria specified that stuff for us, and what we need is a 2.5 millimeter offset. We need a 1 millimeter underflush and a 2.5 millimeter offset. So we need to construct this line and this surface, right? Right there. We need to offset this 2.5, this surface, come up with this line, and then we can create this draft. Okay. So I've already done some of that just for saving time here, and we've got a distance of 1 millimeter that I've offset the new lens. So here's our underflush surface. Okay. And next we have the blackout surface, and I've offset that surface 2.5, so that gets us our offset distance. Okay. And then I've also offset the quarter panel 2.5. Okay. So if we turn the quarter panel off, we can now see that we have blackout offset 2.5. We have blackout offset 3.5 all the way from this lens base, 1 plus 2.5. Okay. And now what we need to do is construct that draft surface. Okay. So we're going to be constructing that draft surface from this intersection line. So if we temporarily turn our lens off here, let's make that. So we need our draft surface, and to make our draft surface we need our die vector. So we'll just go into surfaces, multi-surface draft, and I'll show you I'll first show you how maybe a default way to make this. So if you just select here, chain select goes all the way across, you pick your vector and you hit go. We could use radial if we wanted. Let's just look at these results first. Okay, so we have quite a few surfaces. We could turn on explicit control, tell it to use degree 6, okay, and it gives us maybe 4 surfaces around that corner. But we start to get some thin slivers here where our surface data didn't perfectly line up, and that's okay, that happens. We can't force everything to line up perfectly when we've got flanges from one direction, right, intersecting exterior parts that have been offset. So these things can happen. So we got a little angle there, a couple little thin surfaces. So I want to show you what I would do to optimize this. The first thing I want to optimize is this corner. Okay, so I'm going to undo this, and I'm going to use trim convert. So I'm going to use trim convert to give me, and we'll come here to trim convert and we'll use intersect. I want to trim convert this surface to this surface, and I want to keep this piece. That gives me a perfectly clean edge right there. Now that I have that perfectly clean edge, I can go to my draft tool, pick that edge now that's clean, and I don't want chain select on. Pick this edge that's clean, pick my vector and select build, and it makes a nice clean surface around this corner. I've got explicit control on. We could turn it off and we get a nice and clean surface. Okay. So this was just for construction. I can delete it. Now I have one single curve on surface down here, so I'll select that, pick this guy. And also one thing I just remembered, I have my lens offset. So I know that that flange, right now it's being built out past it, but I just want to build that flange to this surface, right? And now that I got rid of this, I have a curve. I get a curve right here. No, we can get a curve right here by duplicating this. Instead of having to trim convert that edge again, we could just duplicate this edge, curve, duplicate that edge. And let's build let's build, pick this surface and delete it, and let's build a draft surface from this curve on this vector to this surface. Okay, we get that. Now, I want to clean up some of these curves on surface. So any place where I have this little segment in here, what I'd like to do is I'm going to use curve and attach with connect on, and I'm just going to connect these two together. Okay, and then we'll move along here. If we find another piece like this, connect this one to his friend. Okay, come in all these little areas, and I'm going to get rid of that little segment by simply combining it. Okay, and here we look good, and then over here we have another little piece. Okay, so this is some little cleanup that you can do, and every time you do this, you're eliminating a little sliver of surface, which eliminates continuity that you have to check. So it's a good idea. Okay, and it also eliminates thin sliver surfaces that can cause issues transferring to other systems. Other systems don't like little tiny thin slivers everywhere. So now that I have that, we can come in here and pick these curves on surface that we've combined, and we'll accept that, pick our die vector. Let's turn our lens back on, and we just need to pick our surfaces that we're going to build to, and we construct that with 8 surfaces, 8, 9, 10, where I believe the previous time we had 16. Okay, and now that I've done that, we can come in, and I'm just going to do a surface edit 3D trimming with project and normal. Maybe start over here. I want to project onto this surface. Let's use this guy, this guy. Maybe we can get extend with selected and pick that guy. Keep this portion. Okay. Same here. This guy here, keep. And I'll just quickly select these. Oop, missing a little piece over here. And that trims back. Okay, and we could keep doing that all the way along. Trim this down, trim this back, and I've also gone in and I've tubular offset this intersection line to here, so we have our 10 millimeters offset for our blackout. And once we go in and we finish all this, what we'll have this stuff will be part of the lens, render, multi-lister, shaders, and I'll put it as part of my lens. Okay, if we pick template and pick this, toggle template, and then I'll do my hardware shading. And that is what the edge of that lamp should look like. Okay, where we have blackout, 10 millimeters of blackout, lens offset 2.5 millimeters plus 1 millimeter underflush with a 3-degree draft surface on the top. Okay, I'm going to go through and trim the rest of this up, and we'll move on.